So, have you ever spent a full 8 hours in bed only to wake up still feeling completely exhausted? Or maybe, you found yourself waking up at 3 a.m., just staring at the ceiling, totally unable to fall back asleep. If that sounds familiar, I really want you to know right off the bat, you are absolutely not alone. As we cross into our 40s and beyond, a lot of us start noticing some pretty distinct changes in how we rest. I mean, it makes sense, right? Our bodies are changing, our daily responsibilities are shifting, and quite naturally, our sleep patterns do too.
And well, because sleep literally affects just about everything, we're talking your daily energy, your mental focus, your mood, and how your body physically recovers. Even minor sleep hiccups can have a really huge impact on your everyday life. That's exactly why in today's explainer, we're going to dive right into 5 simple ways to improve sleep after 40. You can think of this as your practical, everyday guide to those small, totally manageable habits that just help you get better rest. And the really good news here, improving your sleep doesn't mean you need some massive life overhaul. It actually usually starts with just a few simple, gentle tweaks. All right, let's jump right in with the first one. Way number 1, keeping a consistent sleep schedule.
Honestly, one of the absolute best things you can do for your sleep is just going to bed and waking up at roughly the exact same time every single day. Our bodies absolutely love consistency. When our schedules are bouncing all over the place, late nights on the weekend, super early mornings during the work week, the body really struggles to keep up. It all boils down to your internal clock. That's your body's natural rhythm, and it relies heavily on routine to signal exactly when it's time to wind down and sleep and when it's time to be alert and awake. Now, let me reassure you real quick, we are not aiming for perfection here. You don't need to stress out if you miss your target bedtime by 20 or 30 minutes. The main goal is just aiming for a bit more consistency so your internal clock doesn't get totally thrown out of whack.
All right, let's move on to our next point. Way number 2, creating a relaxing evening routine. So many of us, completely by accident, keep our brains highly activated right up until the exact second we pull the covers up. We're firing off last-minute emails, watching TV, soaking in the evening news, scrolling through social media, or just stressing about work responsibilities. But here's the thing. Your brain is not a light switch. You can't just flip it off. It actually needs time to slow down. Look at the difference here between mental activation and a smooth transition. Think about swapping out those highly stimulating activities for something a bit more calming. Simple things like reading a few chapters of a book, doing some gentle stretching, taking a quiet moment for prayer or reflection, or just having a low-key conversation. It's like gently guiding yourself down a staircase toward sleep, rather than just jumping right off a cliff. Moving right along to way number 3, watching your caffeine later in the day. Now, I know a lot of us absolutely love our afternoon coffee or tea. It's a great little ritual, but timing really is everything here. As we get older, our metabolism starts to shift, and a lot of folks find they stay pretty sensitive to the effects of caffeine for hours and hours after they finish their cup. So if falling asleep or staying asleep has been a bit of a struggle for you lately, it is definitely worth paying close attention to how late in the afternoon you're having that final cup. You might actually be surprised. Making a small timing adjustment, like cutting off your caffeine just an hour or two earlier than normal, is a super minor tweak, but it can make a really positive, noticeable difference when your head finally hits the pillow.
That brings us to way number 4, getting more daytime movement.
It's actually a pretty fascinating connection, but physical activity and restful sleep naturally feed right into each other. Getting some regular movement while the sun is up helps burn off built-up stress and uses up physical energy, which, as a result, sets you up for a much more continuous, restful sleep later on at night. Now, let me be super clear about this. Getting daytime movement absolutely does not mean you have to go out and crush some exhausting, intense workout. Simple movement is highly effective. Taking a brisk walk around your neighborhood, spending an hour gardening, stretching in your living room, or really just any light activity, they all work beautifully. The goal isn't to train for the Olympics, right? The goal is simply to move your body a little bit more consistently throughout your day. And finally, we have way number 5, making recovery a priority.
So often, people fall into this trap of thinking sleep is just something you squeeze in after absolutely every single thing on your to-do list is completely finished. It kind of gets treated as an afterthought. But healthy adults who age well, they look at sleep in a totally different way. They see it as an active, absolutely vital part of their overall wellness strategy. I really want you to let this sink in for a second. Recovery is not a luxury. Recovery is a necessity. When you make that mental shift, when you start viewing sleep as a biological necessity rather than just some kind of indulgence, your priorities naturally fall into place. And when your sleep gets better, your daytime energy bounces back. Your mood improves, your focus gets sharper, and your body just recovers from the daily demands of life so much easier. Now, we really need to talk about an important distinction here. When we look at the quantity of sleep versus the quality of sleep, the sheer number of hours you spend in bed isn't the whole story. I mean, some people spend 9 hours in bed, but they just toss and turn all night, and they wake up feeling completely wiped out. On the flip side, someone else might only get 7 hours, but because that sleep is deep and totally uninterrupted, they wake up feeling amazingly refreshed. So the end goal isn't just to force yourself to get more hours of sleep. The goal is actually getting better, higher quality sleep. And that almost always starts with building those consistent habits we've been chatting about.
So, what this all leads to is what we call the ripple effect. And honestly, this is such an encouraging truth. When you improve your sleep, it sends this incredible positive wave through basically your entire life. All of a sudden, your daily stress feels way more manageable. Your focus, whether at work or at home, gets noticeably better. You'll probably find you have a lot more patience with your loved ones. Your energy levels out, and your physical recovery really kicks into gear. It's like a chain reaction. One healthy habit directly strengthens another. And that right there is exactly why sleep influences nearly every single aspect of healthy aging.
The biggest, most wonderful takeaway from all of this is that making meaningful improvements doesn't require these massive, stressful life changes. Sometimes, literally just one small adjustment can start turning the ship around. Whether it's crafting a smoother bedtime routine, sticking to a more consistent schedule, cutting off that caffeine a little bit earlier, or just adding a daily walk. Placing a real emphasis on your body's need for recovery is huge. Over time, all these simple little tweaks add up. They truly are a profoundly valuable investment in your long-term well-being. At the end of the day, healthy aging is built on simple habits, practiced consistently, and sleep is arguably the most foundational habit of the whole bunch. Now, if you found the insights in today's explainer helpful, please do take a quick second to like it, subscribe to our channel, and maybe share it with a friend or family member who could use a little boost in their sleep routine. This is Renewed After 40, where we are all about finding practical, totally accessible ways to support your health, renew your mind, boost your energy, and really embrace healthy aging naturally. I want to leave you with this final thought to kind of chew on as you start your own evening routine tonight. A better tomorrow often begins with a better night's sleep. So taking an honest look at your own habits right now, which of these 5 simple changes are you actually going to make tonight to reclaim your rest? Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I genuinely wish you a very restful, deeply restorative night.